everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Now I have a few things to share with you today. I've got some pretty big news that I'm going to share with you towards the end of the video, as well as my results for the first week of January 2021. But first, I'm going to go through today's trade with you and break it down on the charts. It is a losing trade, and I was thinking about sharing with you my best trade of the week, which was a nice 4% win, but after thinking about it, I thought that you'd probably get more out of looking at my losing trades, because there tends to be a lot more lessons and reflections that you can get from a loser trade. So I'm going to jump onto the charts, break down today's losing trade before we then dive into the news that I have to share with you. So stick around. So guys, as you can see from my trade record sheet in front of me, I actually took 6 trades today. Now out of those 6 trades, 4 of those, the first 4 trades of the day, were break-even trades, and I'm absolutely annoyed at myself that I did not take this as a sign to just close the computer for the day. It would have been the best thing to do, because I was, as you can see really, from the start of today's trading session, I was being so focused and so disciplined to really manage the risk on my account, and from that I was basically just keeping a really tight trailing stop so that these did not turn into losers. Now actually none of these trades would have worked out either, because it's just been quite a choppy morning. There's been no clear breaks in either direction, even after retests, and I should have come to that conclusion after 4 break-even trades. I should have thought to myself, you know, 4 break-even trades, it's not the day, it's a Friday, turn it off, come back green on Monday. But I did not do that. I pushed it and I took a further 2 trades. So lesson number 1 before I even open the charts is to certainly see how the market is that day and respond to the market, not what you want it to be. But as it is, I'm actually ending the day down 2% on my account, which on my small account is just under £7 loss on the day. So it's nothing to really worry about, and it is something I can definitely get back in another trade, but it's not ideal. It's never nice when you lose. But I'm not really worrying too much about it, because I'm trying to trust the overall series of trades perspective and trust that this is just one day in many days, in a month, in a week, in a month. So I'm going to bounce back from this. So let's drag the chart across for GBPUSD, which is the pair that I traded today. This nice forecast here is not the trade that I took, but it does go to show just how choppy this trade's been. So let's take this off. When I came into the market this morning just before the London session, this is what I could see on the chart. Now you can probably see these areas here. I've got a grey area, I've got some red lines, and these mark some significant points of either support and resistance using the larger time frames. And just to run through what I actually did this morning, so I was looking at the chart here and I could see that we were on this uptrend here, making higher highs and higher lows. We then had this area just around about the London Open where we were consolidating for quite a while, and as we started to break below this area and we sort of tested this and had a big red candle down, that was when I decided I was going to be short biased on this trade, because I felt that we were coming to this area of resistance and we were going to pull back. The 4 break-even trades that I took ended up being in this area here, where we didn't really get any really strong moves down, and I was just being very careful to trail my stop, so therefore I just kept getting stopped out. If I had left the trades to run, they wouldn't have hit my target anyway, so I'm glad that I did that. I think the only mistake I made there was not taking that as a notice that I should have called it a day, because it was being choppy. But I didn't do that. I continued on, and coming up to 8:30 we started to get this pullback here. And the first losing trade that I took in this was at 8:38, so it was around about here where I got into the market. Not a very good place, and that's usually what losers end up being, isn't it? It's just very poor quality trades. And I think, quite honestly, at this point, although I hadn't had a win or a loss, I felt like I was still open on the day and able to trade, but in reality I'd taken 4 trades, so my actual mental capability was slowly coming down. I was losing my focus, I was losing my ability to be mindful, to be emotionally aware, because I was just getting tired, because I was taking trades, I was spending a lot of time looking at the charts, and at this point in time I'd been at the charts for an hour now. So I think that one of my biggest problems was that my endurance was down, and I didn't really realise it because I felt like I was still break even on the day and I felt like I was still able to trade. So at this point, I actually set a forecast here to get short. And that was because I was trusting this bias that I had pre-market of making a move down. And the reason I got short was because this grey area here, I felt like we were rejecting this area and we had these 3 red candles coming in lower. So I felt like I wanted to get on the momentum because I thought they were going to make a move lower to the downside. Whereas now, looking at the charts, and as you're able to evaluate trades that you took and see the mistakes you made, what I can see here is as we got to this low here, we then made a higher high. And if I drag this line across, we're actually respecting this here, making these wick rejections, and are not breaking below that. If I wanted to take a short, I should have waited for a clear break of this point because it showed there was more strength in the sellers. But I didn't do that. I got in too soon. I wasn't patient enough. And unfortunately, the trade went against me. So that was my losing trade number 1. It hit my 10 pips stop and resulted in a 1% loss. Once again, after this trade, it's Friday and I should have walked away, but I felt that I was still within my rule set to be able to trade, which technically I was, but I think maybe they need tweaking on a Friday because the market can sometimes be choppy and unpredictable. And just moving the chart along now, as you can see, the pair continued in the slight uptrend here, but I was aware that we were coming to these highs here, and I had it in my head that it was going to form this W pattern, this double top pattern, where it would hit this resistance and that would result in this sell-off. Now, I don't know why I was so convinced the market was going to go down, and I think that again is another fault, is to really think that you're right instead of actually looking and reacting to what the market is doing. But as we started consolidating here, when we got this big red candle down here, I got short during the momentum move of this once again. And the reason at the time for that was, again, I was looking at this grey area here and we were respecting this level. As this big red candle dropped below, I just felt like this was the point where we were going to break down. At this point in time, I hadn't actually plotted this trend line. I didn't have that on there. It was only afterwards, when we bounced back up, that I realised that this trend line existed and was being respected. So unfortunately, I missed that when I got into this trade. Once again, the better entry for this would have been to wait for a clear break of this, a retest and a fail, but I did not do that. I tried to get in on the momentum move, which once again did not work out. As you can see, we broke to the upside here, and it actually consolidated just underneath my stop. Now, probably one of the most annoying things about this trade this morning is that, as you can see, we had this interesting green candle here where price action bounced down and actually touched this trend line, and it reacted to this point in the market where it then bounced back up and formed a really nice wick rejection. At that point, I was still in this trade, and what would have been the right thing to do, I think now in retrospect, would be to have broken out of this trade before my stop. So my stop was up here at 1.3587. I should have got out of this trade at 1.35835 when that green candle closed, because this proved that it was rejecting these lows and it was going to show strength to the upside. So I think now it would have been best to get out of that trade, to have cut my loser short, and I then could have had the option to have used that as a confirmation to get back in long. But I didn't want to take any more trades at this point. I realised that I had already overtraded as far as a Friday goes, and I was prepared to call it a day. Since then, as you can see, price has pretty much gone on this uptrend, so there would have probably been some potential for profit there, but I'm glad I've called it a day. It's a little late, but it's not too late, and I can still walk away and live to trade another day. So as you can see, that's resulted in minus 2% on my account. Now, just before I share with you my big news, I'll just show you how my results are looking this week. It's been quite an up and down week for me. The first 2 days that I traded this week, I actually took 2 losers on both days. So I ended up starting the week with 4 consecutive losers, and it was a really bad start to the week, to the month, and to the new year. However, on Thursday, I only took one trade and it was a really good trade, and I basically hit 4% and put myself completely break even on my account, which was really good. And then unfortunately today, I've just pushed it on a Friday and I've just taken another 2 steps back. But as I can see, as long as I keep to a really good profit loss ratio with my winning trades, I don't need to be super accurate to win. I just need to have a really good target and let my trades run. And that's what I'm going to focus on doing next week, because realistically, all I need is one really good trade next week and it'll put me back in the green on my account. So it's not the best start to the month, but it's a lesson to me to just slow down a little bit, take it easy, and just see what the market brings. So just before you sign off, guys, I actually have 2 pieces of news to share with you. The first piece of news is that something a little bit different. It's something that I've been thinking of doing last year. I never decided to do it. And that is to enroll onto a course for Forex. Because if you've been following my journey, you know that I studied for over a year warrior trading when I did stocks. I've never done any formal training with Forex, and I've been learning from all the free materials online, as well as learning from my own practice, experience and reflections. But even though I feel like I'm getting there, I am seeing improvements in my trading, and I definitely feel like I'm in the right direction. I just feel like I could also benefit from some mentoring and support, and maybe even filling in gaps in my knowledge. So I've decided to enroll onto a new course this year, and it's a company that I've come across recently. Some of my subscribers have been talking about them. They're RoxFX. If you've heard of them, or if you're on the course yourself, drop me a comment below and say hi. But I'm going to share with you how it goes, how I find the course. Obviously I can't share any of the course content itself because that is RoxFX, but I will share with you my honest opinion of the course, and so far so good. I'm really impressed with it, so I'm super excited about that. Second piece of news, which is kind of a follow-on from the first piece of news, is that I'm actually going to be stepping back a little bit on YouTube because I want to really dedicate more time and energy to my trading. I've been wanting to share this with you, and I'm going to continue to do that, but I'm going to drop down to 1 video a week because I've got to prioritise my trading here, and then hopefully I can share with you some better quality videos as well. So that's it for me. I hope you guys have had a great first trading week of the new year. Let me know below how you've gotten on, say hello, and if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'll catch you on the next video. Have a great weekend. Bye!